Here we are still talking about low code governance because my goodness, the possibilities to me appear endless. I want to talk about a single checkbox and how a single checkbox can sort of save your life. We've all been in projects where developers leave. Either we work for a consulting firm and we're designed to eventually leave, or um, somebody comes in to do something very specific. They create a bunch of assets in their name, then they leave. And even if we use exceptional handling of connection references and connections, there's still a chance for failure, right? So the right way to do this is to add a service account. We're aware of how to add a service account and how, Power Apps at is the most prolific developer we've all have ever known. But what if you're on a government contract? Um, I have a lot of experience working with the US government, and the challenge of working with the US government is they can't put people in Entra who don't exist. They really struggle with that. There's a lot of problems with doing that. So you're going to go the service principal route, and you're not going to go the service account route. So then what? So how do we prevent all of our items, all of our objects from being turned off when we leave, or accruing an incredible amount of technical debt whenever someone leaves? Delegated deployment, there are many, many benefits. One of which is what I just said, but the other benefit is that developers need not have access to the target environment in order to deploy to it. So again, it's a little checkbox on your deployment stage. When you check it, you then have to you can do it as the stage owner or the service principal. Service principal is the right way to go in this case, and then you can add in your service principal ID, which you need to be the owner of. And then you have to see whether it's gonna you can check to see whether you want to share it with only a certain security group when you deploy your code, or share it with everyone. Okay, so that's the little bit about delegated deployment. How does it work? It's a flow like everything else, right? So what's kind of clever about this is it's on approval started is what you're going to use, and you're going to pick your service principal. You'll notice this service principal isn't set up correctly, but you'll create a new connection reference to Dataverse, use the service principal. Service principal has to be authenticated everywhere, meaning it's got to be an application user inside of whatever environment is running the application that runs your pipelines. And then it has to be an app user in both the source and the target environment as well. Um, so it's got to be kind of all over the place. You've got to set it up appropriately that way. And then all you're going to do is perform this unbound action. You're going to set the approval status to true. You're going to put in the workflow as the approval properties, and then the stage run ID is as asked for. What this does, and what's really cool, is then when you see your owner of all those assets, as long as you're the initial person to deploy, you don't have to use PowerShell to update the owner. It will just appear as the service principal because the service principal is actually running and handling your deployment, not the user. So it's a little small little nugget, but for those people who work in the GCC and IL clouds, it's a huge benefit, and it can be a huge time saver, especially when you've got some turnover in your project. Thanks.